Well, I know Peter's at the Cape at the conference.
He is, okay.
Good evening and welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting of Thursday, July 30th, 2015. If we could please rise to say our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will start off the meeting with approval of regular session minutes of June 25th, 2015, as well as acceptance of warrants number 03V16, number 05V16, 02P15, and 04P15.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone here this evening to discuss anything that is on tonight's agenda?
No, you're good.
That would be us.
Yeah, you're gonna be good in a minute.
We're looking forward to talking to you.
Yep.
We're gonna go right to
Yeah,
that.
they can go right next.
That's great.
So come on up. Just come sit at the table. Yes, all of you. Come on right to audiences, right? You're all in this together. You all come up.
I'm very excited about this. It sounds like
Yeah,
a
this
terrific
is
idea.
a good idea. So the committee has the information that you provided to me, and I wrote a little bit to them in their orange notes, so they have a little bit of background, but, you know, wanted you to come so you could, you know, explain it yourself, and then the committee would have a chance to ask you some questions.
Okay, well, I'm Beverly Knapp, I'm president of the Georgetown Friends of the Council on Aging, and we exist to help support Colleen Rancho Fiorello, the director, in any way that we can, whether it be to help pay for programs or buy some equipment, any manner that she may need us. So we're a small group, and periodically we do try to raise money so that we will have something available to help Colleen with. You may have seen us when you voted. We've had raffle baskets over the years. And we're just perhaps quietly in the background to support the Council on Aging. So we're here tonight to get approval from all of you folks to have a recycling bin at the Pearly. And we've got Dick Mullen here who represents Echo Smith Recyclers. And this is Nancy, she's one of our community.
Hello. Hi. So do you wanna talk a little bit about what this,
Sure, yeah. In general, what my role was is to, I know Nancy, and she asked me what the possibilities were of finding a place for a bin, and knowing that the elderly services are going in right in the Pearly School, I said, boy, that'd be a great place. And we look for a place that's safe, so people can drive in. It's clear, so it's clean and access to it, and then we put it there. And really all it amounts to is people donating clothes and shoes, which then the Friends of the Council on Aging will receive so much per pound for every pound that's collected. And roughly, it's passive, so they don't have to do anything. All we do, place the bin, they'll put it in, and then every quarter they'll get an amount of money. And it runs sometime, some of them it could be 2,000, some of it could be 800, depending on the activity. And it's what you do, the biggest thing I'd say you have to do, and it's kind of like strange that it's like this, all you have to do is take the check and cash it. Because the company does everything. What they'll do is they'll monitor the bin to make sure that it's not overstuffed.
right,
Or people are doing things, you know, leaving things there, or doing something that makes it look unsightly or unsafe. And once a week, the company truck comes down and picks everything up. And then they provide a weight, and they keep a tally of the weight, and then that, on the quarter, they send checks out to people. We have a lot of municipalities, we work a lot of fire departments, schools, nonprofit agencies who use us. I think the unique part of why we're here is most recycling services don't do that. They take the clothes and they do something with them and it goes out of the community. But this company, ever since his inception 21 years ago, that's what he's done. He has always returned a portion of money to a community, to a nonprofit. It has to be a nonprofit, a legal nonprofit. So that's pretty much, he does carry insurance. You know, it's typical, it's adequate for all of the other communities and municipalities. Provides that if you request it, he can provide it, but he does carry that. And that's pretty how simple it is. I mean, it's really, no, and the only thing I think I suggested, what I've done with other groups, is you promote it a little bit to say that particular bin there, the collection will go towards the Friends of the Council on Aging. So people who are Friends of the Council on Aging put their clothes in their trunk, and when they're coming down that way, they just pop them in. And that's pretty much it. It's no more than that.
Yeah, that's the best type of fundraiser.
That's a fundraiser. No calls, no action, nothing.
Right.
That's right.
It's cool.
That's right, and the size, I love the fact sheet that you gave us, it pretty much answered all the questions that I had, like I'm like, oh, okay, question answered. And the dimensions, it seems like it's, it's not a big deal.
We
as far
actually
as the
walked it,
placement of it.
when they came to meet with me, Mike Anderson and I walked with them, and we tried to figure out where the best place was. So it will be, where the dumpsters are now, that are sort of back, it will be closer to the sidewalk
Yeah, the parking
area
lot.
there, but it will be out of the way, so somebody could, drive up to it and put it in it, so no one will confuse it with trash.
So
You
more
know,
attractive
it'll
than the
be-
trash
Yeah,
ones.
it'll be very, yes, and actually, they're nice, they're nice looking, yeah.
Did you see the pictures of, I really thought that Echo Smith did a great job when I first met them, because the way they design it. And that's extra. A lot of people just take an old plain bin and throw it someplace, but he's got all the decals on it, and he will put also a label that will say, that benefits the Friends of the Council on Aging.
So many of them don't say who they benefit local organizations, but they don't actually say who it is, so I love
Right, yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah, so and for a long time, like people who didn't just had a location, he has a long time relationship with Special Olympics, so that he's been providing funds back to them for years.
We did a similar fundraiser, not with this company, with the recycling of clothing.
Mhm.
There wasn't the big bin, it was just dropped off at an individual's home. And it was just sort of a one-time event, but it was actually pretty successful.
Yeah, they
We just picked the clothes up at someone's home, weighed them, and cut us a check. It was that simple.
yeah, I mean, it seems like it should be
Yeah.
more, I keep saying to myself, this should be
Yeah,
more
there's something
complicated.
else.
Like it's
Yeah.
too easy, and people, but, and I think the one thing that we know about this, the excellent part about this is that what we're doing is we're removing clothing and shoes that would have ended up in the landfill or in an incinerator. So, I mean, it's the recycling part plus the return the money to a community or to a group like the Friends. So,
Plus, you take stuffed animals, and there aren't many places that take stuffed animals. I mean, I have at home a collection of animals that are really nice. I can't bear to throw them away, but my kids have no interest, and I'd love it if
well,
somebody could
ev-
recycle
everything
them.
ends up in third world countries.
Great.
And they have absolutely no product to create a business with. So when this material ends up at their location, they go through all the stuffed animals, and if they're decent, they try to find a way to resell them.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually create a business model.
Yeah.
But if they're chewed up or banged up or old, they take everything apart, and the stuffing inside is used for insulation, it's used for all sorts of things, it's used for crafts. And the key to this is they actually use the plastic bags that people put their donations in. Because they have no plastic bags, so they'll use them for like patches on their roofs.
Oh, my gosh.
Use them, reuse them, cut them up, make things out of them.
How resourceful.
And we bind everything with cardboard and binding wire. And I was asking the owner, first time I met him, I says, well, see, that's gonna be trash. He says, no, he says, when that gets over there, they use every piece of wire just because they have no resources. So everything is used in some kind of manufacturing. So that part of it is really interesting, it's like, it's just not a fundraising thing, but it's also a way to
Good
help
for the
people.
world. Yeah,
Serious,
yeah.
and I think a lot of times you can go on to YouTube and see the different products when they end up in some of these places, so how they use them, pretty cool.
Yeah, very.
Things we don't think twice about.
No, just, when I asked, in fact, I asked about the shoes. They do collect shoes, and they do have special programs sometime, which are drives for shoes. And I said, why would someone want old shoes? And they said, when they get those shoes, these are people who probably never had shoes, and they actually have laces. And so it's like gold to them. It's like a new pair of shoes. So, and if it's beyond use, they find something, either churn it up. They're now making different things where they can mash all this stuff up and make a new material out of it. So, pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I know that you could certainly use the money to help with all the programs that Colleen has
Yes.
going. In the past, what have you basically done for collecting money? I know I have seen you at some of the fairs and things, but what else have you done to, you know,
Yeah.
try to raise?
The other thing that we have going is goodsearch.com. And when you go on that site, if you declare us as a charity, just for searching, they will donate a penny. But unfortunately, that has not caught on, so it hasn't been a big moneymaker for us. But there are charities that do that do make a lot of money.
Wow.
And we've tried to get the word out, but again, I don't know.
Well, maybe people watching this will.
Well,
see
that's
it
why I
because-
wanted
yeah.
them to come, you know, that's why I wanted them to come, is that, you know, this is, you know, a lot of people watch this.
Yes.
And, this is a great, this is a great opportunity for you, and they know they're gonna have to do more.
Right,
But, you know, with the senior center being at Pearlie, they're anticipating that elderly people that come to the senior centers, they're gonna maybe bring their stuff along, right? Or they'll tell their children and grandchildren, and pretty soon, cause it will be visible, you know, that I think the public will be happy to take advantage of it as well, so.
and how else do you plan on, advertising? To get people to know it, other than just, you know, seeing it? Is it gonna be in the paper? It would be great to do like a spotlight.
We'll have it in the senior newsletter, and we will also get it into the newspaper.
Yeah,
And maybe we could get on Facebook?
Facebook definitely.
One of the things I mentioned, and I think this group would be great for it, we do a short video, like a public service announcement, and hopefully I get them to star in it. And we video, and they can show people how to put this stuff.
television debut?
Yeah, there
And
you go.
it's actually
Movie
fun.
stars. You'll be movie stars.
Yeah.
But you know, the community
Yeah.
access is a great, you know, we'll put things on sometimes that just are on that roving screen.
Yes.
People, you know, don't
Yes,
forget
yeah,
to
sure.
stop by. And the
Blurbs
other
and-
one is, Beverly Enos's show, you
Oh,
know.
right.
Yeah,
If
that's
if
what
you
we
could
were
be
thinking.
guests there, that Spotlight show is very popular, and sure, she'd be happy to feature your, what
If
you're
everybody
doing.
tells a friend,
Yeah,
you'd be surprised how it,
oh yeah,
It
once it
catches
catches on.
yep, so.
You can put it on Georgetown Mass Parents, which is a Facebook page that a lot of people check into that,
Oh,
you
wow,
know, and
that's interesting.
That's a good idea,
Yeah.
yeah.
you can, people use it to advertise services as well as
Right.
ask questions, just communicate it. It's just like a community bulletin board.
Yes.
And you can put it on ours?
And the Georgetown
on
Record.
Facebook?
Yes.
I can,
Yeah,
yes.
they're
Yeah,
good
yeah.
about putting
They're
things.
great about that.
Sure.
They'll do an
Yes.
article.
And I should know it, there's a new page on Facebook. Is it, I don't think it's Georgetown News, but,
I think if there is a new Georgetown News,
yeah, is that
Page as well,
maybe
yeah.
Sue Daigle set it
yeah,
up?
yeah,
Yes,
that's the one.
Oh,
Really?
yes,
Oh,
is that like is it a Facebook page?
yes,
Oh.
yes.
Just, yeah, community update.
Sue Daigle's from Merrimack Valley Magazine, too, right?
No, no, Sue
yes.
Daigle, she owns Georgetown Massage.
Massage.
Oh, and I thought she contributed to that.
Beth Daigle is that
Oh,
writer.
She's
Ah,
great.
there you
I
go.
love that magazine. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on our Facebook.
Okay,
Too.
that would be wonderful.
I have a question, and I know you mentioned it, but on cleanliness. I know that the paper recycling at Pembroke, at some point this year, kind of got exploded. Just, I guess, what is the? And I know you said there's a number to call, and someone will come out and clean up around it, or if there's something leaning up. Does that work as effectively as it sounds? Just to make sure that it doesn't become another dumpster there for a while.
Peter, the owner of this company is unusual, that I found. If you called him on a Sunday night, he would probably have, because he takes his bins, like he's so meticulous about them. If somebody said it looks messy down there, he would probably have a truck out there Monday morning cleaning up. So I have never seen any of his bins with material hanging out like overstuffed.
Right.
And what happens is if all of a sudden a location is getting overstuffed, they'll request to put a second bin in. And then that just takes the overflow, so there's never anything. But he picks up, and one of the things, you know, he tries to keep them as clean. He doesn't want them if they're rusted and they're old, he'll take them, and he'd rather take it out and change it, take the other one back and paint it. So he doesn't, his are pretty, every one I've seen has looked pretty neat and clean, and when they start looking dirty, he goes and gets them.
And we'll be watching too.
Right, you're not gonna get away with these
Colleen will be
guys.
there, and then, you know, we go to the senior center, or we live around it, so
In
to
the
speak.
neighborhood, right. We'll
And
keep a
so
watch
we'll
on it.
keep an eye on it too, because we don't want it to be messy.
No.
Sure.
That
Oh,
won't
yeah.
reflect well on us.
Right.
And generally, because I'm in town, he'd probably call me in the morning and he'd say, I got a request to check the bin, and I just go by and tell him whether he needs a truck, or it's something that I could have taken care of easily, or
Right.
if he needs a truck, he'll get it down as, within a reasonable, if he says within 24 hours, he'll take care of anything.
Okay.
So that's pretty,
That's pretty good.
and so far, he's done that every time. I haven't seen him not do that.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we need a motion for this, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to allow the,
Friends of the Georgetown Council on Aging.
Friends of the Georgetown Council on Aging and Echo Smith Recyclers, Inc. to place a receptacle in, on the Pearlie School property located at 51 North Street, Georgetown.
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. I wish you the best of luck with it.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
To get the word out.
When can we expect to see a receptacle there?
He needs about, usually about a
Tomorrow.
week. Yeah. A week of like, I mean, if you really pressure him.
I was just gonna say, we'll pick it up, don't worry about it, just give us a call.
I don't think we need it tomorrow, it's okay.
I can't, if I jokingly said to him they want it tomorrow, he'd
Probably get it out
get
there.
it, you know, just because he tries to satisfy everybody. But, you know, within a week, he'll get it on
That's
site.
great.
All right, super. Great.
I'd love to hear how much money you're bringing in with it.
Yes.
I wish
it will
it's-
We'll
be
come back and
success.
visit.
Yeah.
Let you know.
Time to clean out the
Yeah.
closets, right? Everybody's
Every
going to
time
school
you
shopping.
get fall is coming, you have to,
That's right.
you know, so.
Yes.
But I've got more coming.
Every season
I
you
know,
have
I
to
always
clean
have
out.
stuff.
Every
Yeah.
season.
Big brother, big sister.
That's a good organization too, but we'll be
We'll
supporting
let
you.
you share.
They're not greedy, they don't expect it all.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thanks
you
a lot.
for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming.
Okay,
Talk to
thanks,
you later,
Carol.
bye.
Okay, you're welcome.
That's great.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, financial report?
Okay. Well, do you want to do the staffing? Did you have any questions about the
Oh,
staffing?
I bounced up. Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we
I
have.
was happy to see how well you have done.
We're doing great. The only thing we do have, is a .6, math teacher. The gentleman who's been doing our .6 took a full-time job. That's always a danger when you have part-time people. You know, everybody wants to work full-time if they can, unless they've got circumstances that they wanna work part-time. So, Peter's, you know, on the search for that. But yeah, the principals, you know, really got right after it, and Donna and Margaret had a lot of, you know, hiring with special education this year, so. And I think we were very happy with the pool. You know, cause sometimes, you know,
It's not
it's not always,
what you'd hope.
yeah, and sometimes, you know, I think we were a little late because of the budget, we weren't quite sure, and there were some people left at, you know, a little later than we had hoped. But we weren't unhappy with the pool, so. I think, every year I do this for you, and I'll do an update, you know, at the August one as well, just to let you know sort of who we're hiring and what's still open.
Did you have a lot of applicants? I know the pool was good,
Yeah.
so you had to go through quite a bit.
For an elementary position, you can get 600.
Really?
Because School Spring, you know, is a online system,
It's a
so, you know, it
broadcast.
alerts people that are in the job hunt that there's a job in Georgetown, and sometimes people will send their resume in and, you know, they're not relocating from Texas. But at the same time, they'll throw their resume, you know,
out there.
resume
Yeah.
in. But, yeah, the elementary jobs, see, sometimes you have high need jobs, like special education jobs can sometimes, particularly if you have like a BCBA or, a speech and language pathologist, right? There's not as many of those, and when there are, people snap them up. But elementary, there's usually a very good pool. I think Peter was pleasantly surprised with math science at the middle high school. I think he was.
Yeah, I know he was a little concerned,
Yes,
saying
he
that
was.
it's difficult
Yeah.
to find them, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
So, yeah, so it's just this .6,
Yeah.
math that we're doing. In terms of the, and we still, have a special education clerk typist because Janine moved to the receptionist position at the Pembroke School. So that opens that up, and then, the literacy tutor opened up because Stacy LeMay is
Became
going
one.
to take a classroom position.
Okay.
So those were all sort of movement jobs. But other than that,
So
we're in great shape.
So we're confident that those will be
Mhm.
filled by the first day of school?
I'll look at the people who are hiring. I'm confident. So,
We
yeah,
have a month.
we're still,
Yeah,
we're still working on it, and,
Summer is still
yes.
young until August first.
Right.
I know. August 1st, you start thinking, okay, back to school, and then you go to the stores now, and everything's back to school. Like,
No, they're Halloween.
It's Halloween.
I haven't seen Halloween yet, but that's a problem.
It's crazy.
That is
That's a
bad.
problem.
it's crazy.
So, yeah, so, we're moving forward on that, and just wanted to make sure you were up to date.
That's great.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I did have a question on, the letter, from the DESC regarding the, tour that they're gonna have in,
Oh, the audit? Wait,
yes,
what-
yep,
yes.
in February to March, so that timeframe. When,
This is the coordinated program review you're talking about, right?
right,
Okay, yeah.
so when was the last time that has occurred?
It's a 6-year cycle, so generally every 6 years you do the full coordinated program review with a
Right.
mid-cycle at the 3rd year.
Okay,
So the last one was 2009.
Right.
so this wasn't something that you got and.
Oh, no, this is,
So
this
no,
is
you
a
were totally-
standard procedure.
Yeah, you were totally relying
We were
on getting this
expecting.
letter,
Mhm.
and, so for that time period, it sounds like it's quite extensive.
Oh,
We already did a lot of work.
Donna,
Oh,
Donna
yeah, well, it
and,
says
Donna
to
and her
prepare for it.
staff, spent weekends here for, a number of,
They,
A number
this
of
year,
months.
they had, I don't know if it started this year or last
all
year, but
online,
we
yeah.
had to go to training to learn how to upload. Every
Oh.
document has to be uploaded, and that was, well, it was supposed to be May 15th, but they extended it to, I think, June 1st or June 15th for us, and so they
Because it
have
was
all,
a new procedure.
yeah, they
so-
have all the documents.
Training to learn how to upload?
oh, yeah.
Well, it
Well,
was-
it's very,
I mean,
it's very
not like
complicated.
just- Really?
Oh, no.
Well, no, because if
No.
you don't
I'm sorry.
if you don't have a document to upload,
Yeah.
you can't just type in, our policy is blah blah. You have to make a document. We created lots of documents to be able to upload.
In a
Like,
specific format.
you think you should just be able to say Georgetown, not applicable to Georgetown. No, you have to type a document that says the number of whatever you were dealing with, and it says, because Georgetown Public Schools, blah, 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 this is not applicable. Then you have to save it, then you have to upload it. Does that pretty well summarize
You go
that?
to the next layer and you have more of that to do, so there was a
So-
lot to it.
so they
And
look
it
at
was a new
multiple
system,
areas,
so it's
too.
a requirement
They
that
look
we
at special
also-
education, and there are, I don't remember exactly how many standards there are just for special education, but there's at least 60 standards just for special
Well,
education.
that doesn't surprise me.
And then there's civil rights, which
Yes.
is, there's.
26.
26, because Joan knows that, because Joan had to do the civil rights. And then oftentimes they do Title I at the same time. I don't
didn't
think
this-
in this
they
case
didn't,
they're
no.
not. But Julie actually got a notice that Title I, is being audited as well. Just this is what happens. And then what will happen is they come and it's an extent, not only all this documentation that they got, then they do all these interviews, they go and visit, they do they talk to parents. I think think they may even talk to students at the upper grade.
Students, school
Yeah.
committee members,
I remember this from 6 years
Yeah.
ago.
Exactly.
Then they
Yeah.
write a 150
50-page
report.
paper that goes for each standard, and it'll say it is either fully implemented, partially implemented, or not implemented. So you're responsible then
remember
for
that
writing a
report.
response to anything
Right,
that's
yeah,
partially
partially.
implemented or not implemented. Then you have to tell them what the response is, they have to accept it, if they don't accept it, you gotta go back at the drawing board. And then, like Donna said, then they come in 3 years, and they
The
check to
mid-cycle
make sure you
review.
really did what you said you did. And then, before you know it, they're coming for 6 years again, so it's a pretty extensive process, but
Right.
it's not 100% bad, I think it's good to have an
Oh, I think it's
external
good.
review.
Yeah,
I think it
But
should
it's
be
just,
extensive,
but
like,
it's
I
very
understand that.
extensive, it is
Yeah.
very extensive, and they,
See, so these are the things that, when we think of teachers and every day, this is what they do,
Mhm.
well, that isn't all that they do.
No.
It's also all these things,
Yeah.
you know, that
Yeah.
have to be done, like even the kindergarten teachers, when we talked about, what they had to do, all the documentation
right,
that
the
they
assessments,
keep and,
yeah,
right, so,
yes, the
It's a
age
lot
of
more than just-
accountability is
yeah.
definitely here,
yeah, which isn't a bad thing.
no? So yes,
you for
that's
that.
the status of that, so I just wanted you to know that that's up and
Yep.
coming.
Just in case any school committee members get a call about
Oh,
it.
sure, and I'm sure they'll ask, are there people who are willing to be interviewed, and this is just an FYI, we got the notice, and so we're all on high alert.
Okay, all right, now we'll go
Now
to
we can
the
do the
financial report, which you have quite a bit. this evening.
No, it's unusual. So I gave you a couple of pieces of information just for your information, and I'm happy to answer questions, but we ended the year, with the regular budget, we tied out, the regular budget, great, we're ready to roll over with the town to FY16. And I also prepared, the same kind of munis reports for the revolving accounts. And I did provide a memo to say that the balance you see when we roll out on June 30th isn't necessarily the balance that we're gonna have when we start in September, because anybody that gets paid over the summer, that's deducted. So, I just I gave you an example of school choice. I'm pretty happy with where the balances are, they're higher than we had projected. We've done a really good job with, Joanne Sherman, does a lot of the collections for like preschool, and she has stayed on top of people, and we've really done a good job collecting money, so I'm happy with the balances that we have. 'Cause I was
So-
very nervous with some of the balances halfway through the year.
And as you know, with the budget, we're charging a number of things to revolving accounts, so that makes us happy that, we're starting in a little better place.
Right, so, like the books, the collection of books at the end of the school year, like kids that don't return them, the textbooks, and also the lunch money that is not paid at the end of the school year, and what was the other one I was just saying? Athletics,
Right.
so that's all, like, people,
Athletics, I don't know how much is outstanding, I don't think much, because I think it's kind of like you have to pay to play, I'm sure there's some
Gotta
outstanding.
pay to register.
With food service, we had I think in May, early June, we had about 6,000 outstanding. I asked Heather to bring me everything, so I sent out letters. I think right now we have about 4,000 outstanding, and I gave people about a month, and I'm ready to send out a more than gentle reminder. I sent out a gentle reminder, and I'm sending out a more than gentle reminder to see if we can collect,
and then
we
what's
do-
after the more than gentle reminder?
I've taken people to a small claims court, but I'd have to get, I guess, your support or Carol's support. I've done it in the past.
In other districts, you've had to do that?
Yes.
We're really hoping with the,
More than gentle reminder?
we're really hoping that works, but we're also hoping with the, we're upgrading the,
POS.
Yeah.
thank you, I call it the
Point of
swipe
sale,
system, but
yeah.
the
I
POS.
think that will
Yeah.
help.
So that should help, because I think one of the downsides to the current one is I don't think people have real-time information,
People don't
right?
know what they
They-
owe.
They don't
Right.
know.
I mean,
And
they
so
do at the end when they get the
So
letter,
they'll
I
have the
understand
card,
that,
but this particular new system, cause we'll have the same one at Pearlie and Pembroke, it's like a debit card, right?
Yeah.
You can check your balance, you can, if you owe, I think you're even gonna be able to see a little bit about what the kids are spending, because one of the things that parents get concerned about is my child's getting double lunches and, you know, I'm giving them enough money to get them through X amount of time. What do you mean I still owe more money, you know? So that'll, I think parents will like that better, because they'll have a little bit of control over it.
Much better.
And the nutrition guidelines will be there. I mean, it's just a system that we think is gonna make a difference. So we're hoping that these balances, you know, we'll be able to stay on top of them, because people will know that they have them. And
But let's see what the difference is. So we've got
Right.
$4,000 outstanding at the end of July this year.
Right.
Let's remember that and see what it is next July.
Right.
yeah,
Well, and let's see how that
Let's see if we can get it down.
$4,000
I
goes
understand,
down
we wanna take
after
action on
your
that.
second
Yes.
gentle reminder.
Not so
Yes.
gentle reminder.
Yeah, but I'm, just in terms of, you know, evaluating the effectiveness of the
Yeah.
new system, next year I'll be very interested to see.
but you know, not that you'd ever have kids carry it over, but you know, the school is pretty adamant that you don't graduate if you don't have all your things up. So, you know,
Right.
I mean, you could end up with, you know, a $2,000 balance that you owe, and you know what? You can get away with it all the way through, unless, you know, we take them to small claims court or something, but you won't be able to graduate if you don't have a balance.
So can you legally hold a child's diploma
I don't
because
think
of
you can
that? I
hold the
just-
diploma,
you
but you
can't
don't
hold-
let them
You
participate.
don't let them
Oh,
participate.
in the actual festivities, like the week
Yeah, if they meet the
long.
graduation requirements,
Right.
But,
They don't walk.
But that is a big deterrent.
And they'd also be
Peter says that a
removed,
lot of families scramble, cause they obviously don't want.
but not just the ceremony, it would be the removal of any of like the senior
I'm not sure he
happenings.
takes everything away, but there's consequences for it, but he doesn't usually have to use them.
Well, that's
Because
good.
they all
people-
pay up.
Good.
Right, and that's probably the difference between the 6,000 and the 4,000, because he puts pressure on them at graduation time and people
Yeah.
pay.
Well, that's good.
I don't know, it's just interesting to me, you know, I mean, but I think if we can warn people when the amounts are little. Right, I mean,
Hefty,
and
yeah.
even in the sports, you know, I mean, I don't want a single kid to not play sports. But you know what, if you're, you know, we let people pay in installments, so we don't say, if you don't have the money cash on the barrel at the start, you can't play. We say, you know, here's how your payment plan needs to work, but you know what? You don't get to register for the next season if you have an outstanding balance. I mean, I know that could sound cruel, but that's kind of what you have to do. In a private organization, you wouldn't do that. I mean, you wouldn't try to register for, you know, in a private organization, they'd tell you,
Well,
They'd
same
just say
thing
no.
with preschool. If you don't pay your balance by
Right,
when it's,
you're
they'd
not-
say
yeah,
you're done on Monday.
Yeah.
Well,
But, you know, we're a public school,
No, I
so
do
we're
appreciate
trying.
the installment though, because
Yeah.
the, you know,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
hard to
very
come up with it.
expensive,
Yeah.
you know, the fees and so
Yes.
I do think that that's a great option for many people.
but these are people who do not qualify for free or reduced
Well, I
lunch.
did include that in the letter to
Mm-hmm.
contact me, because if they're struggling, you may
They
be
might qualify.
surprised that you might qualify, so please call me in, I'll send out the forms.
Exactly, there is relief if you
Nobody-
qualify.
But nobody calls.
But it, you know, if you
Nobody wants
can't do, you know, the large number at a time, you know, hey, if you can do $10, $15 a week,
I offered
that's
that too.
that's an effort. You know, I think that's what we're looking for here is, but if we let somebody have a preschool balance of $3,000, sort of shame on us, right?
Let it get that high.
So yeah, so that's what Joanne Sherman's been, because at one point I remember, you know, it's like, it wasn't necessarily a lot of families, but, you know, all it takes is 2 or 3 families that are behind by a bit. And I know Margaret and I have had the conversation, and you hate to feel like you're heartless, but it's like, you know what?
She did have to ask a family not to return
Yeah.
this year. It
But
was hard.
Joanne's so great and she knows everybody,
Right,
so I think
exactly.
you have,
She's a great
she
person for
has a
that.
She
way of,
strikes me as a very good person.
being
for that.
able to
She does a nice
communicate
job.
well.
Yep.
But athletics, that's open to anyone, right? The installment?
Oh, I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah,
mhm.
okay.
Anybody can do that.
If they qualify for free and reduced lunch, I think there's a reduced
Right.
Correct,
they
yeah,
pay.
I did know
There
that.
is.
Right.
Okay. Okay,
So I don't
well,
know if
I'm
you had
glad
any
that
questions about
You're
the,
happy with the
I
ending.
it's fine, no problem.
It was 2 lines that seemed very similar. Sped transportation.
Which one are you looking on, Michael? Are you looking at the?
Munis
Oh,
report,
your
right
Munis
here.
report, the big
For
one.
the
Yes.
first page?
The bottom of the first page,
Yes,
we were $93,000 better, which is great.
because we had a lot of residential placements.
And my question
Well,
was on page 16. Sped tutors aides for Pembroke was 98 to the worst. Do those 2 numbers essentially cancel each other out, or is that
Yeah, they're on page-
oh
Here's
three
that
one oh one,
Page 16, what is it, 03101?
51204
Special ed tutors
51.
and
was
so forth.
98 worse. Do
Well,
those,
I believe that we added a program, so we added at least one aide there. We must have had to add a couple of aides this year.
Yeah, I think we had 2 there.
is that
Two in
for
just the program?
That's for
bringing
the,
people back? We needed more aides to do, like, do those two numbers correlate? Or
No,
are those
I
two
don't think we brought people
No.
back, but
Okay.
people didn't go out.
right.
And people came in unexpectedly, which.
Oh, people moved in,
Moved in.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Which forced new hires,
Yes.
Yeah.
you're saying, to accommodate?
Okay, so we sort of got lucky then that it worked out.
Well, special education.
No, no, I
that's-
understand, but
you
it's
know.
okay. I no,
Oh.
technically speaking.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to control.
My other one was long-term subs.
No, nice,
That's always,
Okay.
what
We,
page
I
is
know
that?
it's page 2.
Page,
Budgeted 30, spent 56.
yep,
Right, and, we had a lot of maternity leaves, and I
Mm-hmm.
think in this current budget, we budgeted, FY16, we budgeted 55.
I know we moved it up. Yeah.
So we had a lot of maternity leaves this
we
year.
had a couple of medical situations
we-
as well.
right.
Which were long-term, so that, you know, you're still paying the
Right,
people.
and if a teacher goes out on a maternity leave,
And
they're
finding
entitled to, 8 weeks, if they have, accumulated sick leave, they're
Right.
entitled to 8 weeks pay, and I think a lot of our teachers did have that accumulated.
But we still have teachers who stay out, like family medical leave for 12, but they know they'll only be able to be paid for 8.
Right.
But we still have
you
to have a
still have to
sub
pay a
for
sub,
12.
yeah.
You're
But if
double
you do
paying.
have someone go out if they
the
have enough
year.
sick
Yeah.
leave on the books to go out for a year, you pay them their salary out of the salary line, and we pay the sub out of this line.
Right. Okay.
And actually, the long-term subs, I mean, that's something that, you know, at some point we'll talk about it, but, you know, they assume the responsibility for a class, and they get $70, which is the daily sub rate, for the first 10 days.
Right.
Then they get $80 a day for the second 10 days, and then they do go on the teacher's step and scale, step 1, bachelor's, but, you know, in some cases, you know, you might have somebody that's got a master's degree and, you know, maybe was a former teacher and, you know, you're accepting the responsibility for the whole class. So I know some districts, what they'll do is they have a certain rate for somebody who's certified, a different rate for somebody who's not. You know, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. At some point, I'd like to just survey and see what people do, because I'm just personally curious about it. But it is a lot of responsibility, you know, to give somebody, you know, for, you know, $70 a day, right, when you're doing the entire classroom work. So, anyway, but that's why, you know, if it's a maternity leave or a medical leave, and so what we generally do when we budget is we'll say, well, what's the 3-year average, you know, sort of what's the history been over the last 3 years, right? Or if we know, you know, we've got all these young teachers and they're gonna start families, you know, we might say, look, let's put a little more money in there, because we'd rather have more money than less money.
Right.
But sometimes, as you see, we have to transfer money in, because something comes up that we couldn't have anticipated.
Yeah, we've been following that line item for a while.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay.
They're just the ones that caught my eye.
Thank you.
thank you.
So the next thing is the transfers, and this is just a few, and, one of the reasons that these transfers are taking place is we have created a new line in the munis budget. You'll see at the first quarter report. We've moved most of our technology money into a technology line. This year, for example, Wes's salary was paid out of the same line as Carol and I, just as administrative salaries. Because of the way I have to report to the state, I have to report technology on a different schedule. So it was embedded in all the schools, so we've taken it out of the schools, like the $48,000 lease was budgeted at Peter's school under like equipment, hardware or whatever. So we've decided that it would be much easier for me to manage and Wes to manage to have it in his budget. So we created new lines. So that was one of the reasons for these transfers. You're gonna get transfers probably next meeting, that it's gonna be pages and pages and pages, because every single line will have a transfer that has a salary, because the teachers' lump sum salaries reserved for negotiation was in one line, and every single person got a raise. So I have to move money into every single line,
Wow.
so we're working on that now. So you'll have pages and pages.
Well, this definitely sounds like it's more, like Wes should be.
Well, now we have now we have a coordinator,
Right,
a
right,
director, so,
that will all be.
now
yeah,
he'll have a budget and,
be easier to.
I mean, he'll work with the
locate.
schools,
Oh,
right?
sure.
And of
Right.
course, we'll have some state-of-the-art technology now, particularly at Pembroke, and, more, obviously, at the middle high school, but this'll be helpful to us when we are moving forward with our middle high school initiative. It just helps to sort of centralize the spending, easier to track
Mhm.
in many ways. We did that, if you remember, with
Special ed and
transportation
maintenance.
and maintenance. So-
Because we didn't have it, when I first started, Mike had just become the director.
Right.
And all the maintenance accounts were in all the schools.
Mhm.
And so he didn't really have the authority to spend it, so we pulled the maintenance accounts and a lot of the special ed transportation and tuitions were in all the schools, and again, because of the way I have to report, that was hard for me to figure out, what kids were where and what kind of placements they were in, so it's all in Donna's accounts now, and in fact, I've moved the 2 special ed coordinators, on the first page of this, at the bottom, you'll see, special education teacher salaries. Our coordinators have been budgeted in the teachers' salary lines, and I have to break them out every year because they're not teachers when I do my end of the year report, so they've all been moved to the same line as Donna. So as a district administrator on the special ed page, so.
But when there are expenses, and purchase orders that come in, like, let's say Margaret wants to buy some kind of supply or special education supply, at Pembroke, Donna would sign off on it as well. So we try to have that check and balance, because they're already coordinating and collaborating on it anyway. But this way, the business office knows that everybody's on the same page in terms of that being an expense that everybody supports.
Right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve line item transfers 1 through 13 in the amount of $565,724.40.
1 through 20.
Oh.
Sorry, second page.
There's a front
Oh,
and a back.
okay. 1 through 20 in the amount of $565,724.40 as presented by Joan Laporto.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh, I see where he's saying 1 to 13 should be 1 to 20.
The next, is another, invoice from our consultants on the Pearly Roof project.
Yep.
We've been approving these all along, and then following that, we have a recommendation for a contractor to do the roof.
So I saw that he was the cheapest, and I saw his amount. What was do you remember, how different were the 6 people that,
There were some
Good.
over 400,000.
Wow.
And one of the first ones we opened was over 400,000, and of course Mike and I start sweating because we don't have $400,000 to do
and
it.
you obviously had to have had some type of dollar figure that you were hoping for.
Right, and this is going over a little bit, by about $20,000 over what's in the, CPC money. So we looked at our budget and we found a couple places where we think we can take the money, because we have to do the roof. If we go back, I called
Harry.
You called Harry, I
Yeah.
called Mike Farrell, and the bottom line was, you'd have to wait till May town meeting to go back and ask for more funds. Every year it goes up in price. So, our plan is, we have a good circuit breaker balance right now, so we might move $20,000 of special ed tuitions to that, and move 20,000 from special ed to Mike's accounts to pay for this, because we just can't wait. The leaks, it's just bad.
Is there any negotiating with the?
You
You
can't.
can't,
Yeah, it's
by
the
law,
law.
you
By
can't.
law, you
Yeah.
can't. Was there any
You can
optional
reject
part of
the
the
bids,
contract that
but-
we could?
We had already cut
It's all
things.
completely necessary, all, yeah.
Well, one of
I
the
just had
reasons,
to
one of
ask.
the reasons was because, when the architect first developed the plan, he had suggested we could go 2 routes. One was the replacement of the slate shingles, with real
Right.
slate shingles,
I recall
or
that.
one with fake,
Handmade.
fake shingles.
That look like
it,
historic.
whatever. And that a lot of historic buildings are going to, because they
Oh,
last
really?
a
They're
long
allowing
time
them
and
to
they're
do
much
that?
cheaper. But Mike went back to the,
Historic.
the historical, and they said no. And so we said, fine, so we'll do, we'll do the partial replacement. We know there's more work to be done. The windows need to be replaced, but there'll have to be another article. But I felt like, I said to Carol, it's $20,000, but we're not gonna make it with this roof, so.
It's leaking. We're already seeing that residual problem, and,
And this money was approved
I
back
mean,
in
we
2011.
asked for the money,
Right.
yeah, we asked for
Yeah.
the money 4 years ago.
And I know CPC is getting anxious about
Well, they
people.
wanna see it spending.
Yeah, approving the
Right.
money but not spending
yeah.
it.
Right, so they've got a pretty aggressive timeline. They're gonna start at the end of August, the
Mhm.
first week of September, and they're gonna be done by the second week in November. So, it's, but they know there's gonna be, students on the property. They know, that the preschool students will be here,
But they'll be over there and,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
So it won't interfere.
It won't interfere.
No.
And the senior center won't be there yet. Remember, they're coming in January, so,
That's good.
so, we think that's the best window. Right. It'd be nice to do it in the summer, but we just couldn't, it couldn't happen.
I know. Well, all of our buildings would be under construction then.
Well.
Right, we
Yeah,
could,
right.
it would have been too
Yeah,
difficult.
right,
We have
it's crazy
so
now.
many programs running at Pearlie this
Yeah.
summer. It would be
Yeah.
worse
We
to
had to
have
move
everything.
everything.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
we did
interesting
everything
when you
at
drive by Pearlie and it's so
Packed.
crowded with
Yeah.
cars and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, you'll probably see that, once the senior center's up and running, you'll
Mhm.
probably see that quite often, because there'll be, seniors there, we'll have people coming and going for us, and then you still have the preschool. So it should be,
Yeah,
it should
it's
be
still gonna be
a
a
pretty
busy
busy
place.
place, yeah. Which is good, we like that, we like busy.
Okay, so, Chair will entertain a motion to approve payment of CBI Consulting, Inc. invoice number 23510 dated June 25th, 2015, in the amount of $1,457.
No,
Oh,
2,000,
two,
Yeah.
321.46.
okay, I gotta stop looking at these motions on here.
I
I
didn't
don't
look
know
at
what's
them.
happening there,
I didn't
I'm
look at
saying the
them.
same thing. Like, what happened to this motion?
In the amount of $2,321.46.
Yeah, thank you.
We should approve the right amount.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
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 You two are vying for. Okay.
So I provided a cover memo and a copy of the letter from our consultants recommending we award the contract to Meadows Construction. They're a local company.
Yeah, I knew that,
They're
yeah,
in
that's
Newburyport,
good.
yep. And they've already signed the contract, so we just need approval by the school committee, and they've provided their bonds and everything already, and we're supposed to have a kickoff meeting on Monday.
So no pressure.
No
but-
I can always
Sometimes
cancel.
you set up.
Really good reason not to.
I can always
You've
cancel
already
it.
signed.
Cancel the kickoff meeting. But as I said, we're anxious to get going on this.
So when it says down here, their average evaluation ranking is a 91, which is an acceptable score, does it go up to 100?
For
That
DCAM?
score?
Probably, yeah, DCAM.
Okay.
But they've
So-
worked with them before, which made me feel better.
Yeah, I just, 91, I'm
I know,
thinking
it seems
91's
like
good, that's
it-
an A.
yeah.
But when it said which is an acceptable, I was surprised that, to me, that when they say it's an acceptable,
My guess is they do acceptable or unacceptable.
yeah,
that's
well,
probably
so
right.
that's what you think, yeah, it's
Yeah.
either,
Yeah.
it's
Yes
not
or
like
no.
very favorable, like I think maybe I was looking for that.
They don't see the world like we do in education, right, where we have our
Yeah.
language and vocabulary.
That's their version of pass-fail.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, I lost my place,
So do we approve Meadows
Yeah.
yeah.
construction?
In here for me, no?
No, I don't think there's a motion.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve, Meadows Construction, Inc. for the Pearlie School Restoration Project in the amount of $337,000 for partial roof replacement.
So moved.
Should I put in the dates that you said, or no?
No, I don't think
No.
you have to.
Second. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the last
Revolving
is
accounts.
our copier leases. So, for
Did we,
the-
did we wanna, did anybody have questions about the revolving?
oh, I don't think so.
Anybody? No, okay.
For those of you who were on the committee 3 years ago, when I first started here, we had to turn over all our machines because we're on 3-year leases. This year, we met with the consultant from the Copier place, and Wes and I met regarding the Pembroke School. Because I think the Pembroke School had like 2 copiers, the old Pembroke School.
Yeah.
And with the design of the new Pembroke School, we knew that wasn't feasible, so we knew the cost was going to increase. We increased it in our budget. It came in a little bit higher when everything shook out. It's gonna be about $2,000 higher. But it provides machines for every floor, for every teacher's room. The main office, the library is gonna have a color copier. I don't know where the other copy. Oh, special ed, I forgot. Special ed. So, we went middle of the road copiers for the teachers' rooms. The main office has the same copier we have in our office. And as I said, there's gonna be a color copier located in the library, but it will be programmed to print black and white, and Margaret or somebody would have to override it to print color. So if she needed to do something in color, she could. So because it's a 3-year lease, I need school committee approval.
Seems like
I don't think I got that. Can I just see?
yeah, maybe you got your packet early.
Yes, that's, oh, that's what happened,
It sounds so much money.
Oh,
Three-
it's,
I don't know, $101,000.
That's
I'm
over
like,
3 years.
yeah,
we're
I
going-
know. I'm still like,
So we're going from 2 to 6
6.
copiers for Pembroke?
But you have,
Okay.
you've got the 6th grade and then
yeah,
you've got
sure, yeah.
kindergarten.
Yeah, we definitely needed.
So,
to-
I mean, you know,
well, if you
makes
think, how many did
sense.
Pearlie have?
It does make
The
sense.
Pearlie had 2, right? So you figure you had 4, cause you're you're consolidating some of the teachers, right? So your K and 1 teachers are going over there, they used a copier at Pearlie. But those are, copiers in education are abused. And yet, the one thing that will make people go out of their mind is if the copier doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just telling you. So I think the fact that we're gonna have a distribution of them is it's gonna be less likely that they're all gonna be abused. People will be able to.
Does everyone still have a sign-in in the
We
copy?
can-
We
We
can do
can
that.
have anything, and I think that, Wes is thinking about that for some machines. I'm not sure which machines. It wouldn't be for copies necessarily, but for the prints. More so people can print to their mailboxes, because if they're at one end of the wing and the teacher's room is down the other end, you don't necessarily wanna print to that printer and have it sitting there, especially special ed, something
Right,
like that.
Confidential.
So that's gonna be kind of Wes's decision of which copiers are gonna be coded that way. We don't typically, I know I've worked in other districts where you have to put your card in and then they count how many copies you make every day.
Well, Pembroke did that, when the PTA,
The PTA, I remember
we,
getting the
yeah,
PTA
we had
code.
to have a code.
But it's
and,
been a number of years that they've stopped that.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah, because Dr. Tanner could actually tell us monthly, like, okay, the PTA used it this much, and like compare it to previous. Well, how come it's so much more now? Because when you do say abuse, it can be
And
abuse.
when I say abuse, it's not like they're abusing it, it's just there's so many
Yeah. So
people
much.
using
Yeah.
it that, and if you don't buy textbooks or you don't buy workbooks, and you encourage
relying
teachers to
on the
use
pages,
instructional
yeah.
supplies, then or authentic materials that they bring in on their own to support, whatever they're studying,
I
there's a
will-
cost to that.
Don't you remember, again, at the Pembroke, teachers were at those copiers all the time, constantly, especially around their lunchtime, and it's.
I will
feel
say
bad.
that Wes is a firm
Prep time.
believer in
Yeah.
printing to the
Networking.
copier,
Networking.
period. He doesn't want
He doesn't want
desktop printers because they're so expensive to run. And we had a lot of them. I don't think we will. I don't think he's gonna let them be used in the room, in the classrooms. Maybe in an office in a pinch. I know Carol and Laura, they had one in a pinch, but he's really pushing no desktop printers. Print to your copier.
And as we're using technology more, as the accessibility, like there'll be students will be doing projects that will need to print their things, so we definitely have to be reasonable about it. And then, we will watch the you know, believe me, we're not gonna let any of this go, you know, out of control, but at the same time, we don't know that we need to be total big brother. You know, that, you know, we're assume positive intention, and we'll be able to know what the average, you know, copier use is. If one copier's, you know, having a lot more use, then we may wanna know why, and it may be a curricular issue, or maybe there's certain materials for interventions that need to be copied because
It's
we
just in a
don't,
busy
they're-
hallway.
you know, but teachers do need good copiers
I
to be
agree.
able to
Yeah.
really do their work.
Absolutely.
And the desktop ones really are not that great.
They're not.
Yeah.
The problem is that they're so easy to just hit print
Of course they
and
are.
throw it away if it's
Well, I
not
was
right.
gonna
If you have to
say-
like go down the hall,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
pick it up, but like
Yeah.
Be more aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
You're
you're
more
printing,
aware
what
of
you're
it,
not.
that's right.
We got rid of every desktop
Yeah.
printer throughout our whole
Did you?
company.
Yeah.
that way you're
And they're
not buying
saving quite a bit of money.
Probably
It's
for that
very
reason.
expensive.
because you're not buying
Yeah, it
100
makes you
toner
really
cartridges.
think,
And
do you really need that copy, or can I look at it on my desktop?
Well, Dell was great in my last district. Dell was great for, you buy so many Dell computers, they give you this beautiful Dell printer. It was huge.
Yeah.
For free. It was so awesome. Then you go to buy the cartridges, like
Yeah.
$400
Yeah,
for the cartridges. Like,
Because-
not so free anymore.
Yeah.
Right, right.
yeah. that's-
But we
how
all
they
had
make
them
their
because
money.
we all got sucked in, and then you realized
Yeah.
your costs for printing went sky high.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and I think if everybody understands how important it is to be green and not to waste
Right.
paper and not to
Exactly.
waste
Exactly.
inks, and I'm sure everybody is in, you know, harmony with those values.
Especially at Pembroke, it's a green school,
It's
so
a green
you know, there'll be
school, right.
all of the schools do
So-
recycling, so,
Right,
You
so
know.
it's a notion that's gonna be repeated over and over again, you
Right.
know, to
The other thing I
conserve
think you
and-
can do is configure all your
wasteful.
printers, I know we did, so that they always print like here, two-sided, and you have to request color.
Right.
So you're gonna save money there
Yeah.
too.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when will we get all these?
Well, I emailed him because Margaret has no, Margaret has no printer
Oh.
and no copier, no anything. So,
Telephone.
so I emailed him the other day and I
That's
said,
kinda, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but we're wondering where all the calls are going, because I'm sure there are people calling Pembroke, and they're in cyberspace somewhere, we have no idea where. Well, some are coming to Laura, definitely, but, yeah, you know, you can imagine that they think they're leaving a message somewhere, or they're being told that, so I talked to Wes the other day about it, because, you know, apparently all the phones are in, it's really a question of the connection with Verizon, so he was gonna follow up on that.
We are joking when Diane says, you know, when are we getting a phone? I say, Diane, you have a phone. It just doesn't work.
well, you'll be getting, you saw his email. He said that he would try to get you one I emailed him and he'd try to get you one in your office. I told him I'd email him tomorrow morning and if this was approved. And he'd try to get you yours the beginning of the week and then we'll worry about, like, he won't flip out the high school ones right away. We'll concentrate on Pembroke first.
But be careful what you wish for, Margaret, because you don't wanna be answering the phone every minute, right?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the copier.
Oh, the copiers, okay, I thought you meant the phone.
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to approve the 3-year lease to CIT Finance in the total of $101,845.80, with 3 annual payments of $33,948.60 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay, subcommittee reports. It's the summer.
Yes, it is the summer.
Oh, there's a lot going on.
Okay, so,
Surprised.
well, so who has met?
Well, let's see, has
The
budget
school
and
building?
finance met?
Has budget and finance met?
no.
Okay.
Well, yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
you had
we
one
did.
meeting, I wasn't at that, you did have
Oh.
one
You
meeting.
you weren't there.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was a
you
long
did.
time ago. Okay, yeah.
And I do, yeah, it was a long time. That was a long time ago, but we haven't
A
had a
long
meeting.
time ago,
We had a meeting since then?
no.
I'm not sure.
It's the end
Okay.
of the school year.
And
I
I
think.
Yeah.
still have the minutes to draw up. I've had a computer problem at my house for a couple of months, and I can't do everything on my phone. So
No,
they're
that is so
handwritten, and I
hard.
was gonna ask Laura to type them in, because I still don't have a computer. So yes, we did go over, Margaret, I don't have my notes, help me along here. We went over all the
It's been a long
Well,
time.
we went
Yeah.
over all the
We
revolving
talked a lot about
accounts.
revolving accounts.
We talked
and-
about projecting out 5 years.
5 years, yeah. Doing a little longer term budgeting.
And sort
Yeah,
of
which I think is great.
updated budget, some of the numbers were tweaked and just kind of what worked. What happened with the kindergarten grants? Is that bad? Do we not want to
The
talk about
kindergarten, we have not got official word
Nothing
on that.
official. Okay.
You know, it's been like a yo-yo, so the governor, when the budget was approved, the governor took, those grants out. So,
But then
the
they,
House, well, the
I know
House
they're
put them
arguing,
in,
yeah.
and then the governor took them out, and then the emails went out to everybody, if you care about this, you better get in touch with your legislators. I wrote the letters from us, but, I haven't heard anything more. The tricky part, and, you know, Margaret and I talked a little bit about this too, and Joe, is those grants, face it, you can take it to the bank, they're not gonna
Stay.
exist. You know, if they get funded this year, it's going to be because of pressure that got put on. But it's, you know, they're changing the foundation formula, they feel like they're accommodating for the little extra, and they're basically saying to people, you know, you need to take care of this.
right,
So that we funded 3 in the budget. So obviously, you know, we're waiting to see if, you know, we do get money, you know, would we then use the grant funds to fund those 3? Or would we add 2 more?
Mhm.
Knowing that probably next year, the
We hit the
funds
same
aren't gonna
problem.
exist and we're gonna cut again. So that's why we really are waiting to see if we have some solid something from the state. You know, we do understand the difficulty with 3 versus 5, but, you know, if it's an inevitable problem, and, you know, the goal is we have, maybe find money to add 2 more in the future if we choose to, if we determine that we really can't function without the 5.
Mhm.
You know, but right now, we have nothing firm, we're waiting sort of from the state to hear them say officially yay or nay to, any, cause I think that once the governor, there's a veto period, there's a, you know, a window of a couple of weeks that, you know, things can get added back in if
Mhm.
they need to be. So, that's kinda where we are with that.
okay. And we talked too about getting together more often and not so much,
Just in budget season.
yeah,
We also talked about the,
Everyone's so
you know,
busy,
maybe
I
having
know.
crystal ball meetings, I call them that, but, you know, meetings with,
other departments.
other
Other
departments
town
and other town
departments.
departments to see if we could do that on a more regular basis, to just talk about the budget in the context of the town budget, you know, and the town looking at, you know, project, cause it's hard for us to project out 5 years when we don't know what the town's thinking, right? What's the town's vision, you know, for funding going forward? And actually saw Phil Trapani and mentioned that, you know, we might be interested in doing that, and he seemed very interested in it, but I have a feeling at this point, if we want to do that, we're gonna need to make the overture to say, we'll convene a meeting, let's kind of explore what those possibilities could be.
And if you had more meetings, then you could invite other people from town departments.
Yeah, no, I'd love
Just
to.
invite them.
Yeah, we could
And then
certainly
if
do that.
if, you know, it turned out to be productive and fruitful, they might be interested in carrying it to another level.
And I know they're very interested in strategic planning. Phil has definitely been probing that a little bit more. So obviously, we're gonna work on our strategic plan, so I said it would be
Yeah.
perfect to take a look at that whole, you know, facilities, financial management, all of those standards that we have, and figure out how we can dovetail with the town.
Well, I think it would be important to work with the town on what we envision happening and what we
Right.
need for funding, rather than just wait for February and they give us a magic number and we
That's
say,
right.
okay,
Yeah,
which doesn't.
Exactly.
Not that it's gonna radically change, but at least there's a
No.
dialogue instead of a.
More communication, more
Yeah.
consistent.
Well, I think that's how
communication.
we were able to develop, I think, a nice relationship with the town in terms of understanding special ed. You know, cause there was a lot that the people we were talking to didn't understand or didn't know about how it works, and, you know, how does somebody qualify for that, and how does out of district work, and,
Right.
and, you know, how volatile it can be, and, you know.
What are the district's
What are the
obligations?
obligations, what's the law say, and, I think, you know, there is an appreciation for that's something that is sometimes, but like Donna can project, you know, looking forward, she knows how many children will age out, you know, how many children we have till 22, so, you know, there's some of those kind of things that
Right.
we can predict. And
Yeah,
that's
I think you
important.
gotta look at that list of revenue generating ideas
Yeah,
and
we gotta
maybe
look at
just
that
pick
again.
a couple and put a group together and say, focus on this and.
Well, I definitely wanna
that.
look at that faculty daycare, and so I, you know, before budget season, so if we decide we're gonna go forward with it, we have anticipated all of the things, we talked about going and visiting a couple of places that are doing it. It'd be really good to do that in September, you know, just to see how it works, what the costs really are. But there's a number of, you know, things we did discuss that we certainly can, actually, the boxes of the textiles, he came to me, I don't know, a year ago and said, do you wanna do that here? And at that point in time, we had been talking to another organization, we had our hands full, right? And, so when he came with them, I thought, well, you know what, I don't think we were gonna make, you know, as much money necessarily, and, you know, it's a good fundraiser for them. And, so, you know, we kind
Yeah,
of,
I'm glad that
we
they
didn't
took
get,
it. I don't
we didn't get in the
necessarily
way of
think it
that, I
would've
didn't
been a
say to him,
ton
well,
for
remember,
us.
you pitched the idea to us, you know, we kinda want, you know what, there's plenty of room for everybody to, you know, to share, but you're right, Lorraine, really, what are those couple of things that we
Yeah.
can do?
I think that's a very good idea.
We'll definitely do that.
Okay, has governance met?
No, we're trying,
But
we have a plan.
have a plan for August 18th
At 8 in the
at
morning.
8 in the morning, 8 from 8 to 10.
Have
Yes.
fun with that.
Well, we're gonna meet, we're gonna talk about the concussion policy, and we have some fingerprinting things that we have to nail down, and make
Yes.
sure I get that in my calendar.
Negotiations,
Yep, negotiations has met, 3 times, and we're working through a couple of open items in the superintendent's contract. So, I think we're meeting tonight,
yes, we are gonna have an executive session tonight.
yeah, and hopefully we'll wrap those up and move forward.
Okay, thank you. PR?
PR, yes. We did meet, right?
Last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
on July
I know,
20th.
I have no idea what it was.
Yes.
Good for you guys.
July 20th, we discussed the new district website, which is on target and ready. It's on track for to launch on September 1st. And there is a website, there's a prototype of it up right now, that one can see. And let's see, Julie DeRoche is gonna be transferring her department page to the new WordPress framework shortly. And then Michael is gonna be taking a lot of time out of his own schedule, it sounds like to me, to be copying and pasting, you know, various other department sites. It's basically it's gonna have the same content as our website does now, it's not going to be radically different. The big difference is that because it's going to be on WordPress, it will be a lot easier for administrators and teachers and users to change their page, to update their page, to, you know, do what they need to do. Whereas right now, it's a really cumbersome, slow process that a lot of people, find difficult. So this will be a lot easier for our staff to be using. Anything else you wanted to say about the website?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
September
Let's
1st.
see. Then Michael has just sorted the district satisfaction survey data by school that we're going to be looking at. I don't know if you got, so you sent an email out.
Yeah, I didn't send it to everyone because I
Okay.
figured I wasn't allowed to.
Okay.
I don't know.
And it's, thank you very much for doing that. I think that's gonna be really, really interesting. Each school is about 60 to 70 pages, so I was going to
That's
like
every question, we had a
print
lot
it
of
out
questions.
and like, you know, we could talk about it, but I think a better thing is to maybe take our time and I'm gonna look at it and just summarize my observations on a page, and then we could talk about it at the next, I mean, and you. can
Yeah,
do that-
as
do
we
that.
all read it, then
As-
we'll have our ideas about what we
Right,
see,
so
and then
we'll be able to
you'll
talk
have your
about
own opportunity to
the
see what you
results
think
of
too.
the survey by school at the next school committee meeting. And what were we gonna do? Oh, and we discussed maybe identifying each of us identifying approximately 10 topics or questions that kind of tell the story for the survey results for us. And, cause we all need to have a good solid understanding of the survey results as we move forward in September or October with the 2015-2018 strategic plan for the district. And the last is the communications plan. which we are in the process of editing, and the goal is to look at it one more time at our next meeting, and then present it to the school committee for you all to take a look at. It's just to provide a framework to help administrators and the community, to help us all understand what the goals are of district communications.
And where they can look for it.
And where they can look
yeah,
for
what
it,
are the
yes.
sources.
Exactly.
So did you already set up another meeting before?
We have not,
We have
not.
no.
But
I'd
we
be
will in
happy to
August.
at any time.
Yeah, cause we
Yep.
will, we definitely will.
Okay.
So that's it.
So if we have a minute. Has school building met?
The school building committee, did meet, there was
and
not
you
a
were-
quorum.
Oh,
was
okay,
not
is
a
that the one that you couldn't attend?
I
Yeah,
couldn't attend,
Anyways,
right, I
okay,
did
so there was no
tell
quorum.
them, right, ahead of time,
Yeah.
so that, but in any case.
So it sounds like other people couldn't make it either, so.
Right,
yeah, it's tough in the summer.
Yeah.
that's right, and unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to the next meeting either, however,
When is the next
Carol's
meeting?
gonna be there. It's the
August.
11th, August 11th.
August 11th?
I'm actually hoping that they would change it, I don't know, cause I'd like to be, at a meeting, but we'll see if that happens. However, there is an issue, and it's concerns the no hunting and the no trespassing signs, that we feel, and we've discussed this at the school building committee meeting, and I think I've discussed it here before too. We wanna have those around the property perimeter behind the Pembroke School, because there is the state forest. I actually got together on the 17th of this month with Chief Cudmore and Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson set up this meeting, and he printed out these survey maps of the property. If anybody's interested in looking at them. And so we established that the school property around the back of the Pembroke is abutted only by state forest. There is no town land at that place. And we are within our rights to post no hunting and no trespassing during school hours signs on school property. So that is what Carol is going to go to the school building committee on the 18th and request.
The 11th.
Sorry, the 11th, and request, potential funding for. Because Mike Anderson talked with Chuck Adams, who thought that there might be some money available within the school building project. But we have to look at that more carefully and make the request. We're looking
So
at
it might not
about-
fall within the parameters that they can.
No, I think it will
Okay.
fall, it really is about what money they have left.
It's about what
and-
money they have left
Yeah.
and
Okay.
whether they choose to fund that,
Sure.
yeah, so.
Just to clarify,
Yes.
it's not no hunting during school hours, it's no hunting
And
on school property at all, I assume.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'll get to a little bit more of that.
Okay.
Isn't it only certain times of the year that they can hunt? It's not,
That's right, it's just during hunting season.
Right,
Which
so
I
it's just
believe
a-
is in the fall. I'm not a
Right,
hunter
yeah.
myself,
So
but I
actually,
believe it's in the fall.
There are multiple seasons that they have,
Are-
different kind
Is there
of,
a spring
different
hunting
types of-
season? Okay.
things that they're hunting
kinds
for.
of animal, that's right.
Right, okay. So,
Some are birds,
just regarding cost, Mike Anderson has found signs costing about $100 each.
And
Chief
how many
Cudmore.
signs are you thinking?
So we all walked the parameter of the property to take a look at this ourselves. This is Chief Cudmore's idea. He's very much in favor of actual field trips, of when you're considering doing something at a particular place, he believes you need to actually go out and see it. So we did. And so we started at the end of the parking lot, way out there. So you're at the new Pembroke School, it's out to the left. And at that point, which is pretty far from the school, that's kind of where it makes a pie chart. So there's very little school property between the parking lot and the state right at that end, but then there's a pie, so the school property grows. So shortly after, there's quite a bit of school property between the state land and the actual school. Chief Cudmore has reached out to the environmental police, and they have agreed, that this is my understanding, to post no hunt, or the equivalent of hunting in a school, no hunting in a school safety zone sign every 500 feet along the border in the state forest. So, then we looked at, so what signs would we, as a school, want to put up?
Right. That's a lot of signs. Sounds like it
Every
could be a lot of
500
signs.
feet. Right, well,
Well,
and
and
they
then
would,
on-
they
and
would
then-
cover that. So, we agreed that posting no hunting signs around the property borderline all the way to the sports field until we get to the swamp where nobody goes. So we would post our own no hunting signs.
Okay.
Then closer to the school playground, so, you know, it's right along the school playground. But then there are woods, the school property, as I mentioned. There are paths that go through those woods that a lot of Georgetown residents have been walking their dogs on and have been enjoyed walking their dogs on. In addition, our track,
Cross-country.
cross-country, yeah, they practice and they run along those paths. So we thought that we would put no trespassing signs during school hours along, right, close to the school, so that people would be able to still, would feel, you know, that they could and indeed
Yeah,
be
still
able to
enjoy
use
that.
those,
Yep.
enjoy those paths. But we just don't want them going into the school playgrounds or right next to the school. Right, so that would be about, that means we're looking, this is really an estimate, but guesstimate, we're thinking about like 20 to 30 signs.
Okay.
So, one set of signs along the between the property and the state forest, another set of signs along the back with where the playground is, okay? Mostly no trespassing signs during school hours along the playground. The hunting along the border, the property border. With like just a couple little hunting ones along close to the playground. Did I communicate all of that?
There's a lot of signs.
There's a lot of signs, but I want you to, you know, be aware of what we're talking about and be in
So
agreement
then-
with us
So
going
if
to
the
school building committee.
cannot pay for this,
Right,
so.
They can choose not to pay for it.
They can choose not to pay for
So if
it.
that happens,
then
then
we
where
would
would
have to look
the
for.
money come from?
Well, we would have to
find
decide
it.
whether we
We'd
were
have to
gonna fund it.
decide. Right. So I'm not sure that's a vote
how long does
right
it
now
take?
for us here.
How long
No.
does it take to make up the signs?
It's very
So if the
quick.
meeting's August 11th, it's quick?
Yeah,
It's very
that's why I asked
Mike
Carol.
has a sign guy
to-
that,
He does them in a
it
day.
does them in a day.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's, yeah. it's
And then
very
who
quick.
would go
Okay.
out and post them? One of Mike's
We would.
Probably
individuals
Mike.
would?
Yeah, we
Right.
would have
Go
our.
out there?
yes.
The ones on school property. The environmental police would be
Will
in charge of
post their own.
posting their own.
Right.
yes.
And they're all,
That's my
Chief Cudmore
understanding.
said that they're all
Yes,
in agreement that something should be posted because the school is there.
correct.
Do you need to post that volume of signs? I mean, is it, you know,
Well,
is it gonna look funny to have that? It sounds like a ton of signs, but I'm not visualizing how
so.
big
Kind
the
of-
area is.
yeah, that was the value of the, making the field trip.
You know,
Where's the
legally
other
to
one of
post,
these?
You
Oh.
do, you do have to have them, it's not, they're not legal unless you do it a certain number of.
Oh,
I-
okay, well then.
It's a 38
Does not.
acre property,
a lot of
Pembroke
land.
School.
Mm.
So,
And the signs for no hunting will be posted on the other side, right? It's not gonna be posted on this,
both.
Both,
both sides.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, 20 or 30 signs at $100. I mean, it's $2,000 or $3,000 bucks.
If
It's not a
Mike
huge.
Anderson walks the property again, he may get a clearer sense of whether we're talking more like 15 or
Yeah.
30 signs,
So
or,
you're
you
not
know.
talking $30,000, you're talking.
Yeah, I'm,
Right.
yeah, I'm not concerned with the monetary amount. I think I was concerned as to how the signs are gonna look, because it just
Right.
sounds like they're
Right.
gonna be pretty consistent. I don't know, I just.
But it sounds like
Wonder.
they're gonna be, they'd be back though, I mean, it's not like you're gonna walk up to the school,
Right,
you're
and
gonna
No,
see it.
you won't.
You won't
you
even
won't-
probably see them unless you're in the
You
woods.
won't even see them unless you're in the woods.
So that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
We probably
perfect.
all have that visual of the orange and
Yeah, yeah,
black signs,
exactly.
you know, that it's
Well,
gonna
these
look like
signs are, I believe Chief Cudmore sent me a visual of the state sign, and it is orange.
Yeah.
The template
No,
of
it
it,
is-
yeah,
yeah, quite-
they are.
well, that's the hunting color.
Quite visible,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah,
Right.
you want them.
I'm not a hunter either,
Just
but-
what you want. You want it to- Yeah.
But I have seen the orange.
Yes, well, I mean, if they may not know the area, if they're not from around here, they wouldn't know that there was a school there, and.
Yeah, I know,
Right.
I know.
Well, thank you for taking this on. It sounds like you spent a lot of time doing that, so thank you.
Well, I
We
think
do
it's
appreciate it. It is very important.
So, that's the
We
school
want
building
the children
committee.
safe.
That's right,
Yes.
absolutely.
And then-
Okay.
And then we have, the CREST meeting update.
Mhm.
So, The CREST is a collaborative for regional educational services and testing, which is one of 26 collaboratives, special education collaboratives of the state, of which Georgetown is a member district. And their last meeting was June 17th. There are just like 5 things they talked about that I thought were interesting. One, we need to vote on. So that first one that we need to vote on is a new capital improvement plan, which I think is, an excellent, they're using excellent foresight and fiscal responsibility in doing this. The Crest School, it's a wonderful school. Their facilities, they're growing, and they need to have new facilities, and indeed they are moving into a new property, the Branch Street property in Methuen, which is having an open house for the public to come see them on Friday, September 25th. It's 9 Branch Street in Methuen at 11 o'clock. I will be going to that, and Carol will be joining me. It's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful new property, but they are gonna need to be putting money into that property, and, there's upkeep for the existing properties that they have. So they have a surplus this year. It's not a public school district, so they have a different kind of set of financial statements. And they have a surplus this year. $400,000 of that is going to establish this capital improvement plan. They've made a commitment to contribute $100,000 every year going forward. It's a 10-year plan. The first $135,000 of it is going to go to fund the new playground at the Branch Street property. I don't know what else I can tell you about the plan, except that I think it's very well thought out, and very an excellent idea. I wish we could have 10-year, long-term, plans going forward.
We should,
But
you know,
we're
we
a
should
different
take
kind
a
of
look-
organization.
But we should take a look at the structure of their plan,
I mean, it's flexible,
It's nice to have a
changeable.
surplus, but we're also paying to be members,
Yes.
and so they are
Yes.
being creative of ways of spending
They've-
our money.
Yes.
Yeah, they've been
At the end of the
attracting-
day.
their enrollment has gone up significantly, and, so they're putting the money, basically they're putting the money back into the business is what they're doing.
They function more as a regional school district where they
Right.
really are their own business. So in a regional school district, that would be like excess and deficiency that would be set aside for,
Right.
some capital expenses or, some extraordinary costs that they weren't anticipating. But yeah, that is always
Well-
the other way to look at it, which is, well, if you're ending with $400,000,
That's
maybe
not
you should
rounding
charge
error.
us less.
Right.
Well, and actually, so they're audited every year.
Well, that's what we do with like preschool, like
Right.
our preschool,
Yeah.
is still very affordable.
Yeah.
We're not in here to make
Right,
tons
yeah,
of money.
their goal wasn't to escalate everything so we could.
But the money's going back into the business. They are audited every
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
And I can't remember, maybe 3 years, 2 years on this,
You've been at least 2, you might
At
be
least
3.
2. And this last year, like, the number of notations that the auditors found 3 years ago, I think was tremendous. And the next year, there were like a few, and this year, we were close to a perfect 100 score. So, from a financial perspective, they're doing everything very well.
This was a business.
It's a
that-
business.
That was in the hole significantly.
Yes.
It
Was
was
mismanaged.
it was mismanaged,
yeah,
and it was
mismanaged, and
yeah.
it sounds like they have
They've
really
done a lot of really good
to
things.
get the right people in there and
They've
get out.
restructured the administration, the way they do
Yeah.
administration. There's a lot of changes there, and it's all good. They've really turned themselves around, as Pam said. Now
So
they
Donna,
have people who are interested.
Yeah. So Donna, I don't know if you've received this, or if you'd be interested, or if you'd be available to come, but you might.
I did receive one, it's on my calendar, so.
Oh, great.
So you'll be seeing me there too.
Excellent.
So what is the
Great.
percentage of kids in Georgetown that participate?
At Crest,
Yes.
how
What's
many
the-
kids? Ballpark.
Our
10.
Crest,
Yeah.
about 180.
No,
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 total.
no,
Our
Is it really?
No.
Our kids.
Presently, we had one just graduate,
Mhm.
and that's all right now.
That's it.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And in the past, like,
So there you go.
Last year, we had 4,
okay.
Yeah.
so we brought 2 back. One's graduated, and one has gone somewhere else.
And they like to talk about how a success for them is to return a student back to their district. They're not
Okay,
looking
I
to
would
take
hope so, yeah.
students and, keep them.
Sure.
That's not their goal. Because of, least restrictive environment is to have a child in their own
Sure.
hometown, in
Mainstream
their own
school.
community, in their own school.
Mhm.
So they're very much aware of that, their philosophy. And so, let's see, they talked, a DESI, so they had a DESI,
Audit.
audit. Yeah, and their corrective action was that they need to be sending progress reports to specific people in districts. They had been sending them just to the district per se, I guess probably to the special education department. And Desi said, no, you have to have a person that it's addressed to contact. Vacation snow days, that we talked about it's going to be, put out on Channel 7, Fox 25, the website, but they generally follow Methuen, but not always.
The Methuen Public,
The
that's what they
Methuen,
generally do?
It's in
Yes.
Methuen,
yes,
so
but it's not exactly the same, they don't have to be as aware about sidewalks, and so it's not always like that.
Yeah.
They're forming a new strategic planning committee, of which yours truly is now a member of.
Well, good for you.
And we're going to be meeting for the first time sometime this month. Let's see, and budget revisions, revenue was up 12%, so that was, they just revised their budget. So, I would just like to, say maybe, how do I phrase
You're gonna
this?
make a motion
Okay, I would like
to approve the
to make
capital
a
plan.
motion to approve the establishment of a capital reserve fund not to exceed a balance of $650,000 for the implementation of the capital plan projects at Crest Collaborative.
You have that, Laura?
What? Do you want me to repeat it?
Is it written
Okay.
there, Pam? 'Cause
It
we'll
is
just-
written,
So we'll
yes.
just give Laura that and she can take it.
Okay.
So
So
you're
now can-
approving their ability to spend that money. As a member town, you're saying that you are approving their
Right,
plan to go there.
right.
Do we have enough I don't know that I have enough information to, I'm not doubting it, but I don't know.
Would you like to, here's the plan.
So this is what
Here,
you
take a look
usually
at the
send,
plan.
yeah. Do you wanna take this?
Yeah.
So the reason this is like coming up now and not in your packet is that this really came on the
Yes.
radar screen like literally in the last day. So, I mean, I'm sure that if you feel that you need more time, we can put the full materials in for the August meeting and, we just would tell Kim that the committee doesn't meet as much in the summer. They need an opportunity to review the materials, cause she really just sent it out. This-
Can you
this-
explain the 650, cause I don't think I'm familiar with,
The
like,
650.
the
That's
600.
not to
just
exceed.
the maximum, they never wanted to exceed, so say, they said they're gonna start out with 400,000, and then they're gonna put in 100,000 each year after that. Well, they don't want the fund they wanna spend it, they wanna use it.
Oh, they don't wanna keep it and build it.
They don't wanna keep it. So on
Not to
page
exceed
7,
600.
I said there's a list of the needs from year 5 to 10. Or, is that
Do you-
5 to 10?
do you
Oh,
want-
oh, and page 6
Do
is
you wanna
the
get a copy of the whole
immediate
plan and have a
needs.
chance to read
Or at
it?
least, yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to. at
How does
least.
the rest of the group feel
Yeah,
about
why
that?
not?
Because I'm
So,
still trying to wrap my head around
let's
don't
get
think
that let's get that
Okay.
information to the group.
Okay.
So each, and how many, school districts are part of Crest? I know it's grown because we've approved since
Right.
other towns have added.
It's at least
Okay.
19, but it
Okay.
may be
So,
more.
All of these 19 communities are
Have to
approving
vote.
that same.
Well,
plan.
usually
Correct.
in some kinds of these kinds of agreements, it's like a regional agreement, you got 5 towns, but
Yeah.
3 have to approve. So I have a feeling there's a portion of those that have to approve the plan.
Oh, like the
I'm
majority.
not,
Actually, I
I'm not
believe
sure,
2/3.
I think it might be true, I don't know that
Yeah.
it's I don't know that it's
Okay.
a complete,
Right.
100% agreement.
When does it have to be
Right.
approved by?
Right.
my
Do they-
next.
do you have
Um,
any idea?
Well,
Cause we're not meeting again
Sooner
until
the
August
better.
30th.
That's
or
what I'm
something.
saying, if that's already 2/3 that have.
exactly. I think if you do it in August, to just feel comfortable with it, and if you have questions, you could email them, directly to Pam.
Sure.
And she can certainly talk to Kim Olivera, who's the executive director, and get the information so that at the meeting in October, you'll be prepared to feel like you could take a vote on it. Cause there's no sense, it's not your fault, you didn't have the information in
it's-
enough
it's-
time, so.
Right.
They just have to understand that they didn't get it to us, a month ago. It's not like we've been sitting
In
on it.
August, right?
You mean
I
August,
mean
not
August.
October, I was thinking.
Yeah, so did I say
Okay,
October?
you did.
Sorry,
That August
August.
meeting's gonna be busy all of a sudden, it seems like.
That's what I was
It might be a little busy, but this should be a pretty easy thing
Well, I
if you
mean,
have the
actually,
opportunity to
I think
review
so
it.
too, yeah.
We were
Goes into that.
expecting, I was expecting kind of a summary of
Yeah.
what I was gonna present.
Yeah.
which didn't come, so when it came a little while ago, I was still looking for something else that didn't
Oh.
come. So then Carol just
Yeah.
got a reminder note, and
That it
like,
has to be
this
approved,
is,
yeah.
this is all there
And we-
is.
and we
is
have a
the
meeting
actual
tonight, so that's why
plan.
it came
So
up.
that's kind of how it.
But it's not your fault,
was
you didn't
not in
have the
folder
information,
And has
so.
not been presented before then, so I apologize for that, it was just a little miscommunication.
So can
Well,
Laura
certainly
make,
not your fault.
can Laura make, copies of those and then we can just go in and pick them up?
Yeah, well, or you just put it in the packet, it's up to you, how much, whatever you wanna do.
Yeah.
I don't really think it has to be determined before the August meeting, I think they can work
think
with
Can you
that.
I'll be
scan
fine
it
with
and
that.
send it
Yeah, you can-
electronically?
Of course,
Okay, why don't we do that?
all right.
So withdraw her motion.
Okay, so I withdraw the motion.
All right, wonderful.
Okay, we'll take a look at that, Pam, thank you.
Should you do an email motion, like if we looked at it and we were comfortable, or is that not
I'm not-
acceptable?
You know what, I'm not sure about
No.
that.
Yeah,
I think there's a,
I mean, we've done it with the GEF.
I know, but that's a little different, I think.
Okay.
I don't
I
think
just
they're
figured
subject
if we're
to
tight
public
with
open
time.
meeting laws.
Mhm.
I think that's what we would run into here. I
think
mean, I
you'd be
know
very
they,
impressed if you take a look.
No, I don't doubt it, I just,
you just didn't know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, no, I understand.
Okay,
worst
so
case,
that's
we
the
could have a
capital
5-minute meeting
plan
and
request.
not
Okay,
that I really
great.
want to, but.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Laura's gonna, send
She'll
that out
send it
to
out,
us
yep.
electronically.
Yet we'll still vote on it in August.
Yep, we'll put it on the, calendar for August
Okay.
27th.
Then you
Very
can
good.
just review it. Okay. Thanks, Pam.
Okay, school choice,
Right, remember we said we would revisit this in, August?
Yep.
We do have a number of people who are hoping that we can open spaces.
right,
But Margaret, what is the recent update on
The numbers.
enrollment?
Well, I don't have any additional numbers. We're
Mhm.
still around 18, 19,
And
Per-
in the five
per
classes?
class.
per class.
Each,
Yes. So I am loath to open it, especially if we're going to be cutting paras.
Because of the
And-
it'd
kindergarten
be good to
grant.
keep the classes a
Yeah.
little bit lower.
Be nice to keep classes 20 or under, and I'm afraid if we open it up, I know I ran into a family at Pearlie the other day who had a kindergartner, and again, with the transition, I said, email me and we can figure out registration. I haven't heard from her, so I'm thinking at some point in time, that will be another student. There are always families that are coming in August, so I
That's
just,
right.
if we can even delay it until August, but at this point, I would ask not to open.
Okay. And I would support that.
Yeah,
We've always said if there's more than 110 kids, we always consider that to be just a little iffy, right? And, cause you don't know, you could have 10 new students, there's new houses going up in town and, I've been noticing that there's new building going on and people, may move in and, the priority really does need to be the Georgetown families and that they get, and kindergarten is not we're not talking about 14 and 15 kids in kindergarten here, like they have in some places, right? We're talking 18, 19, and that could go up to 20, there's a lot of demands on little kindergarten kids today, and Margaret's right, we are making some changes in the para structure, so, it might be nice to just not create any torque for a year.
Can I ask how preschool registration is?
Again.
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but.
Right.
People were coming in today with their checks.
Yep, yep, and we get emails through the summer,
Mhm.
so we are registering. We've gotten a couple emails from families that wanted to increase their time, so.
We're where we expected to be around this time,
We're
or
not
more or
full.
less? Okay,
We're not full, but, we're.
you're comfortable with.
So
where we are.
in August, I'll put that down on the list, we'll report on that.
Okay.
We'll report on that number, and we'll have, because then people that,
It should be
are really
a pretty
thinking
real
about
number.
coming will have
Right.
been making their decision.
I've also gotten emails, the past couple of years, I've opened spaces in January for children that turn 3 by, December 31st. So I've already gotten a couple emails from families looking to that, and I've asked just, even though
Hang
we
on.
have spots now, we may not then, so just, we'll revisit that in December. So we're looking forward to revenue, even at that time as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we wanna match that against what we predicted the revenue was gonna be, right?
Right.
So we know
That's
that
a
we're
pretty
going
important
in the
number.
right direction. It's a pretty important number.
Okay, the district satisfaction survey.
That was only here because Michael wasn't at the last meeting.
Right.
And the committee, I think, wanted to.
Well, he played such a big role. we
Yes,
almost
if
like-
there was any further discussion, you know, we just put it on there as we said we would.
Right, and as you had said, thank you for sending me that breakdown. I asked Laura actually to print it, out for me. I find it easier to look at it in, a printed format
do
through
too.
each of the schools. But did you have anything that you wanted to just
Nothing-
throw out there?
Nothing specific. I thought it was interesting, and I need to look closer. But the way everyone loves Pearly, and like overall satisfaction, Pearly is everyone loves it, and it kind of steps down from Pearly to Pembroke to the middle school to the high school, which I thought was interesting. Just on the basic, are you satisfied score, which I thought was interesting. Not scientific at all, just interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, you know, the kids are younger at Pearly and different things, you know, it's
There's so
life
much more
is
parent
easier.
involvement.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
part of it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
know,
Life's
they're
easier when
really
they're
in
that
tune
age,
to
too.
what's going on, and as you go up in the grades, there's less and less
and
parent.
Oh, sure.
Yep, that's right.
So that's why you
That does
see
make a
so
difference.
much satisfaction at the lower
Yeah.
end.
Oh, yeah.
The higher.
Yeah. That's a good
Well, we
observation.
certainly
Not
will
surprising.
dig down and try
Yeah.
to figure out if we can get a little more information on that for sure. What specifically is, why is that?
Right,
you know,
what
if we-
drives
If we
that
can
or-
infer that from some further look at it.
Well, it was interesting that
Yeah,
so
I'm
many
so glad
people
we
did
did it,
actually
yeah.
put down their, people took the time not just to answer the questions, but there were some,
Comments, yeah.
Mhm.
comments and such, so that's good, because that does give us an opportunity to kind of see what's going on and what people, have on their minds.
Absolutely.
Homeschool list of updated homeschool. I just have mine. Oh, there it is. So on some of these, the date of birth isn't on there, does that matter?
No, that's
So-
okay,
The age is on there, but just,
right, but they don't always give me the date of birth.
so is this the full list of them?
At this point
At
in
this
time,
point.
it is.
Okay, so,
We've had like a whole page in the
Yeah,
past, haven't we?
that's
I
what-
remember seeing a much bigger list than.
I
But they've
haven't
just-
received all of the portfolio or assessments yet either, so I received about half, and of half of those people also included their letter of intention for the coming year. I often get a lot of letters like the couple weeks before school starts and the couple weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
So even though in June I always send out, well, the year's over.
Do
You
it
know,
now.
Send in, right,
Yeah.
so.
And
okay.
there are some
So we'll-
people whose have been homeschooling for a long time. I mean, you'll see those people on the list again.
Right.
And we
Right.
do have 2 students coming back to the school district, which is nice.
From
They started
homeschool,
by
that's
doing
nice.
from homeschooling. They did some partial inclusion,
Mhm.
of classes, and now they've decided that, oh, this went really well. I'm gonna send my child full time, so that's nice. So you're not gonna see their names, but they did send in a portfolio.
Okay, so in August, we'll probably get another list.
Or you
This
will.
is sort of an ongoing process, yeah.
Okay, so, the chair will entertain a motion to approve list of homeschool families dated July 20th, 2015 as presented. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we get ayes from you guys?
Aye.
Thank you.
Michael was so excited he seconded it.
It was big.
I forgot the vote.
I was saying he was slacking.
Okay, and then we have, furniture surplus, textbook surplus.
Mhm.
Where's that list? Here it
It's all
is.
on one, I put it all on.
Yeah, that's good utilization of our paper.
That's right.
So when Michael gave us, so when he went through this list, all of the town like the other town, people have their saying if they wanted those
Once you
pieces.
declare it surplus, then he'll post it at town hall and he'll get the word out to
The-
highway department, whatever, and then we'll give them, 5 days to let us know if they're interested.
Okay,
And then he'll dispose of the ones that have no value.
yeah,
And then, Chief Cudmore gave us a website where you can post items that can be sold, and it follows the public procurement law. So we'll probably put it on there, I can put it on my listserv, he can put it on his listserv, Mike can put it on his listserv. And then you just take bids, and, you know, you get a cutoff date, maybe another 10 days, and the highest goes to the highest bidder.
And where do those funds go?
They go into, they'll have to go into the donation
Donation,
revolving
public school
account.
donation.
Okay.
There is a lot of surplus.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, this is,
175.
but if you go to Pearlie and we go down to the wing, that, there is a lot of surplus material.
So is your hope that people will utilize them, that we won't have to maybe do that public procurement of
So
selling them?
I'm sure the
think-
student desk and the chairs we're gonna have to sell,
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody's gonna want them. And some of the, you know, kindergarten play furniture and stuff like that. I think the tools, perhaps, you know, another town department would want
Might
them.
want them.
Books we usually donate, so.
But we have, like, the things that we know, like, for example, we have a list regarding the senior center of what materials
They're
they
looking
wanted,
for.
that we're keeping those.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, I mean, if you come into Pearlie, you know, everything's sort of moved around. It's a fresh coat of paint, but the offices are moved. You'd be surprised, wait till you see some of the nice furniture that, you know, some of the desks and stuff that were donated, you know, or things that came out of Pembroke, like big old cables that we're using for conference tables that are just beautiful. And they just refinish them, and, you know, it's very good quality stuff, right? So those are all things that whatever we can use, that we can use, that we know is good quality, we're keeping. But some things, like those Pembroke desks, I mean, I guess if somebody desperately, they're the originals, if somebody desperately wanted it for a memento, we would make sure they got it. But, you know, most people wouldn't really want them. I mean, they've
Those
outlived their
chairs
useful
are
life.
terrible.
oh, yeah.
Well, you know, Suzanne, they've outlived their useful life.
I don't know whoever designed those, but they didn't work.
I can't imagine.
But, you know, we have, as you know, we talked about the last meeting, we are giving, like he talked about the third world countries. I mean, you know, we are donating a lot of these things because that's what they want. They want furniture. We are donating a lot of it, you know, to a group we know of, and we feel good about that, rather than throwing it in a dumpster somewhere.
And
you know.
and we don't have to pay to.
I was gonna say, and
remove
then
it.
They take it.
take and then they pay to get it over to the third world
Right.
country.
Because otherwise we would have to pay
Yeah,
a
and
disposal
it's
company.
Yeah, which is substantial, can be substantial.
Right.
The office area at the Pearlie looks great.
Doesn't
Yeah,
it look
doesn't it?
good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we're,
really
it's,
does.
we're
It looks
getting
great.
used to our new home.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah.
A lot of work, you can tell
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
work
work's
that-
been done.
Our custodial staff has been great.
It's,
Custodial
yeah,
and maintenance
it's just
staff.
amazing.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the declaration of surplus furniture items to be disposed of by proper protocol as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then on the back is some, textbooks.
Spanish
Social studies. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the declaration of surplus textbooks to be disposed of by proper protocol as presented.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we already talked about the signs. Okay, I think we're done with our regular business.
We are.
Yeah, okay, and the time is 8:46. Okay, at this time, we will be adjourning the school committee meeting. We are going into executive session, under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Paragraph 2, for the purpose of non-union personnel negotiations, and we will not be returning to, open session. So I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Second.
You
Second.
Second. Michael seconded, now you do the roll.
Yes.
Hinchcliffe, aye.
You might as well say yes, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
great. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
have a good night.
Wonderful, thank you all.